What's up, people? This is the Vinyl Casket, home to the lamest taste. You can check me out on Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube, all one word, the Vinyl Casket. We subscribe, like, comment, the bell for much, much more. I'm super late to the party on this. This released June 8th, 2022, but with all the stuff going on, I just didn't get around to it. This is an MCU Disney Plus original series. If you haven't guessed already, this is Miss Marvel. So I know that this show got a lot of shit talked about it, and people just didn't like it. And talked a lot of shit about the character and everything, and just never got around to it. It just never was something that, I wanted to watch because it existed in the MCU, but just never got around. It was never on the list. Kind of happened to the MCU as a whole in the last 2 years, and went from me having to watch everything as it happened to putting certain things off and now having to catch up. This is I want to say 8 episode show, could be 6. This is a 6 episode show. Is it billed as it's a mini series? Okay, so this is a mini series. It is 6 episodes. It's not bad. It really isn't as bad as everyone made it out to be. And maybe in the heat of the moment, in the heat of the release, it wasn't good. But I think this kind of appeals to the sense of the character that I know in the comics. Obviously, some big changes, power sets and moveset kind of wise, and the origin story is a little definitely off. But I think it fits the MCU, because we all know the MCU isn't an exact duplicate copy of the comics 616 universe, even though they want to use the 616 naming system here. It's not an exact copy. There's so many different things that have changed in storylines, and obviously Infinity War never would have happened. It didn't happen like this in the comics and stuff like that. We aren't even nearly as big as the comics are at this point, but I've come to accept that there's going to be things that are a little bit different. And I'm okay to accept changes in origin stories if the character aesthetically and characteristically, that's not a word, still represent that source material. And I think here the actress that plays Miss Marvel does an amazing job of capturing the excitement and the importance of that character, and the just the overall role is just well done. I think she captures Miss Marvel very well. I think she does what it needs to do. I don't agree with the changing of the origin, the power stuff. I do like these concept stories and how they laid them out. I do think it's pretty original and unique, and I'm not mad with it. It was a fun watch. I enjoyed myself. I wasn't bored. I wasn't overstimulated or understimulated. I thought it was a pretty solid miniseries that set up an origin story for a character to be used in other ways in the MCU. And obviously with the Marvels out right now, which expect a review eventually, that's what this show was. The show was to put that last missing piece for that movie into the MCU with some backstory, so they didn't have to explain her or do any backstory on her when it came time for that movie. Which some people would argue, like, oh, they just threw Peter Parker Spider-Man in the MCU without any background. Spider-Man's a very well-established character that people of all generations know of him. He has had, before the MCU movies, there were still 5 major motion pictures out about Spider-Man, about Peter Parker Spider-Man. The introduction of Miss Marvel, no one knows who she is. When you say Miss Marvel, I still think of the person that is Captain Marvel in the comics and currently the movies. Carol Danvers will always be my Miss Marvel, my Warbird. Like, that's how I grew up with her being that role in the comics. So a lot of people that grew up and read the comics around the time of the original Civil War run and that era, as well as before that, won't picture this character as Miss Marvel and won't know anything about her origin or anything about her. So introducing her in that Marvel's movie without any concept would have, without any backstory, would have been a terrible mistake. And I'm glad that they used this series as a way to just give her some backstory. Thought it was pretty solid, a lot of fun, honestly a good watch. So if you didn't like it the first time, rewatch it. It's not bad. I'm gonna give this a very easy 3.1. I'm gonna give it a 3.1. You can check out my Instagram review where I went a little bit more in depth. It's pretty solid. There was a good discussion going on in the comments there. Hopefully we can get a good discussion in the comments here. Remember to get in the comments. So this was Miss Marvel, Disney Plus, original from 2022. Really solid miniseries, 6 episodes. This is the Vinyl Casket, home to lamest taste, where you can check out my Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube, all at the same word, one word, the Vinyl Casket. Subscribe, like, and comment. Hit the bell for much, much more. And do me a massive favor and stay lame.